Oops. Now we should be good to go. Oh, I just hit the microphone. Let's hope that we're live. All right, there we go. We are live. Good morning, everyone. It is January 26th of 2026. Had a lot of interesting things happen over the weekend. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to my daily live stream. We stream from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oops, let me turn the volume off on my phone here. And how this stream works is we do a comprehensive wellness check of the entire market, including cryptocurrencies, gold, and silver. We look at the bond market, and we also look at the U.S. stock market to really try to figure out where things are heading. Now, this is primarily a cryptocurrency-focused channel, but we want to make sure that we have all the right information, and that's why we look at the other markets. It's also why we also look at global news. Some things happened over the weekend, and for that reason, we'll be talking about that a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit later into the session. For now, I just want to say good morning to everyone. Sorry, I think I was about 2 minutes late today. Hopefully my procrastination doesn't start pushing those start times back further and further, but was about 2 minutes late today. Good morning, Vector, Scorpio, Ryan, Baller, Miguel, Iman, Kristen, Ben. Happy to see all of you guys join the stream. This is not snow, so basically I blacked that window out, and if I had to guess, I bet part of the black film I put on the top right corner of that window has peeled off. So unfortunately, that's probably going to be how it looks for the rest of this stream, but maybe I got to go back in there with some more duct tape and patch that thing up. I did that so that I could shoot better during the daytime, especially as we get into the spring and summer seasons. It's going to get really bright, so I did that to kind of control the room a little better so that I have a little bit more control of the lighting, but as you can see, it didn't work out so well today. Crazy stuff over the weekend. Silver and gold at all-time highs, like all-time highs. I looked at silver this morning, or really last night before bed, because the Asian markets opened up first. Silver, in a weird way, is moving like Bitcoin did back in like the 2010s to 2015 era. I'm almost wondering, where really is the top for silver? I don't think we're anywhere near the top at this point because it just seems like it's going up and up. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a lot of bit worried about what that means for society as a whole, and we'll get into that a little bit into the stream. Personally, I'm still all in on crypto. I don't want to buy paper silver. If I was going to buy silver, I would be buying the physical coins, but right now that's just not in the cards for me. I've allocated myself towards crypto, and I'm going to stick to my guns on that one. But I know some of you guys on the stream have silver, and it's exciting to see. I always like seeing other people win. I know some of you guys have some pretty low silver average costs. Some people got in at like $30, $20. I think that's incredible. It's always fun to watch stuff like that take off. So hoping that we get some of that relief coming our way for the crypto space. I'm going to be jumping into the chart coverage here in a second, but I just want to make sure I'm up to date on all of our live chats before we jump into that. So who's going to buy some chicken with their XRP? We'll be covering that in the stream today. KFC, I don't know how true that image is, but there is an image floating around on Twitter that the payment kiosks at KFC, I think it was in Arizona, had an XRP option for the checkout. And I think, hey, a screenshot could just be a screenshot. In the world of AI, you never really know what's real. But if that is true, pretty exciting stuff. It's just one more indicator that crypto really is the future. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Vector says he caught the dip as it was happening. Price notifications are great. Didn't have any to put in though. Ben says I can't buy too much more XRP at the moment. Yeah, I'm a little stretched myself, so I've told you guys before, but since my employment kind of came to an end in November, it wasn't exactly a layoff. I was doing contract work, and I wasn't able to line up the next contract. So, not a layoff, but it's conceptually the same thing because you're out of work one way or the other. That kind of put a real damper on my cash flow, so I haven't really been able to contribute what I'd like to be contributing, especially during these dips. But that's just life. That's how things go. And, in some ways, that's why you want to get in early, because once you got your tokens, you can kind of just sit and let it ride. Not saying I have enough that I would want to let it ride. There's always more that you could get, but I'm at a spot where I'm doing okay. But when I'm seeing these dips, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish that contracting money was still coming in. When you're a contractor, you get hourly, not salary. So it's kind of like a la carte. You're not getting the benefits from a salaried position. There's no 401k match. There's no holidays, no vacation days. So you just get paid straight cash. And that was pretty cool because I didn't need, the 401k match. I was buying crypto, and I didn't take too many vacation days because it was a remote job. So I usually brought my laptop with me to vacation. I just would have my laptop open while whatever it was I was doing. I'm going to start sharing the screen here. But I do want to just see there's some good chats here. Skid asks, can you stake XRP with a cold wallet like Tangem? Well, I know the Xamin wallet is going to have FXRP integrated staking. I don't know if it's official. I don't know if it's been released yet. I don't know if that's official, but I know the Xamin wallet can do that. I don't know if the Tangem wallet can do that. Probably not yet. Maybe someday. All of my FXRP, for better or worse, it's on a Bifrost wallet, which is a hot wallet. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of hot wallets because they're always connected to the internet, and so that's a security risk in itself. The cold wallets being offline, once you're done with your cold wallet, you power it down, and that's it. No one can get into it. Sorry if I'm having a little bit of burps here. Yeah, Durville says, as a contractor, you get paid good money, paid hotels, and per diem. I enjoyed it. I actually liked the contracting space because getting paid weekly was awesome. To be honest with you guys, I don't really go on vacation that often anyways, and if I do go on vacation, it's usually somewhere that I could have a laptop open. So when I was in my contracting gig, I just about never took a day off. I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this, but I'm going to anyways. So last summer, I went on a 1-week trip to Tennessee. So Monday through, or really it was like Saturday to Saturday, but I was in Tennessee Monday through Friday. I brought my work laptop with me, and Ben says drink directly into the mic. I'll give you one sip, but let me finish the story first. Oh man, I really probably should not be telling you guys this. Whatever, I'm gonna do it anyways. I would essentially dial into a Teams call with only myself on it, and I would throw the screen on a PowerPoint presentation mode. And then we were off on the boat having a good old time. And then 2-3 hours later, we come back to the lake house, and I just go back to the computer, reply to any IMs or any emails that I had. And I know that sounds messed up, but in the IT world, you can get a lot of your work done pretty early in the day. So I would just wake up around like 9 a.m., knock out all of my assignments, and then by 10 a.m., I was caught up in my personal workload. And so it's kind of the thing in IT, you can finish your work early and then you're just kind of sitting around all day. So as a contractor, instead of sitting in my house or taking paid time off, I just took that laptop with me. Did you go to the apple barn and did you ride goats on the roof? I don't necessarily know what that means. I'm going to give you that coffee slurp. Okay, here's a good question I want to hit. Sorry, guys. I know I'm supposed to be doing the recap, but we just got so many comments. Ryan Dog says, Andrew, can you discuss your potential exit strategies today? When we get our next run, would you try to sell and then jump back in once we get in a bear market? Answer to that is no. And here's why. And this is going to be, I'm going to throw up a chart just so that we have a reference point. So we're going to open up the Flare chart, and I'll show you guys why I don't want to micromanage my portfolio. So if we look at the Flare's overall chart, I'm gonna pull it off of its original ICO. That way the chart looks a little bit more. There we go. That looks a little better. So I'm gonna drag it. Here we go. So you guys see how Flare kind of moves like almost like waves in an ocean? You might think if you're someone that tries to micromanage your portfolio, you might think, okay, the next time Flare goes to, 3 cents or 4 cents, I'm gonna pull out and then buy when it goes back down to a penny. There's nothing that says that has to happen. Now, what if Flare goes to 5 cents? And it just keeps going, and then it goes to 10 cents, and then it goes to 15 and 20 and so forth. By the time that this inevitable dip does come, let's say it goes to, and I'm not saying it's going to, but let's just say Flare went to 15 cents and then fell to 10 cents. If you pulled out at like 3 cents or 4 cents and hopped back in at 10, you've basically cut your portfolio in half by trying to micromanage. So if there's going to be dips, I will just continue to allocate, and I don't really like having an exit strategy. If you guys have been watching, I've been holding NVIDIA since I was in high school. So maybe someday I'll make a video focused on that, but I bought NVIDIA when I was in high school because I was playing World of Warcraft and my computer sucked, and I went and I got a new graphics card and I put it in the computer. And I went from getting 10 frames per second, which was kind of like playing the game on a slideshow, to now I had 100 frames per second. I could go into any city in the game without any slowdown. I could have the game on max settings. That got me really into NVIDIA, and I told my dad we should buy this NVIDIA stock. So at the time, I was working at a grocery store. I was one of those cart collectors. You see them at the Kroger or Walmart or whatever. I was one of the cart collectors, so I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. But my dad did help me open up a brokerage account, and we bought some NVIDIA, and I've never sold it. Actually, technically, I think I got the details of that story a little mixed up. I bought Activision Blizzard first. Activision Blizzard was the first stock I ever bought, and then I bought NVIDIA later. I did end up selling. Actually, this is another good example of this. So Activision Blizzard was the first stock I bought. I think when I bought it was either at $7 or $8, and then it very quickly went to $14. This was around the time that Activision merged with Blizzard. So I don't know if any of you guys are gamers, but this would have happened around the time that World of Warcraft Burning Crusade was like the most recent game that they had. So that would have put me, I don't know, in like 10th grade or something like that. I bought Activision Blizzard, I sold it at 14, and then I watched as it ran all the way up to $90 before eventually merging into Microsoft. So it's kind of hard to know what would that stock be at right now without the Microsoft merger. Because if you look at the Microsoft stock, that one's just always ripping as well. So it's like, it capped off at 90. Would it be like 150 at this point? I don't even really know. But the point is, I sold that stock so early that I only got 2x out of the value on that. I learned that lesson early, and so my NVIDIA, when I bought it, I said, I'm going to hold on to this forever. And to this day, that's been true. I've been holding NVIDIA for, it's got to be somewhere between 12 and 13, maybe 14 years. Unfortunately, my brokerage doesn't go back far enough for me to look at the original buy statements. So it's actually kind of hard for me to figure out when did I exactly buy it. But I know that I bought NVIDIA before the split. I think shares were going for about $30 a share. And then there's the stock split. So If you factor in the stock split, I think I got in at like somewhere between 50 and 60 cents. All I can say is that the NVIDIA has done very well, and I did not micromanage it whatsoever. And so I guess this was kind of a long-winded answer, Ryan, but I don't have an exit strategy. I have a different strategy. I have a staking strategy. My plan is to stake, maybe not my entire XRP portfolio, but my plan is to stake at least a decent amount of it so that I can get stablecoin rewards off that staking, and then treat it similar to how people had treated real estate portfolio. So let's just say, for example, you had $1 million in assets allocated, between XRP's Firelight and the Flare network with delegation and wrapping. If I had $1 million in total in that whole space, and I'm getting 5% on that, that's 50 grand a year in my pocket without ever having to sell a single token. And then on top of that, those prices on the tokens are going to continue to rise. So, if hypothetically, if it's $1 million someday in the future, well, someday in the future, beyond even that time frame, maybe now it's $2 million and you're getting $100,000 in stable coins per year. So it's almost like you're giving yourself annual raises just by holding the tokens and letting them appreciate over time. So for me, that's the long-term strategy. Now, would I maybe sell off like 1% of my XRP to cover some costs? Maybe there's a good argument to be made there. Full disclosure, I still have a pretty robust stock market portfolio. NVIDIA is not the only thing I bought. I used to buy the Vanguard 500 religiously, like for 10 years. Every paycheck I was buying. So I don't know if you guys know, but Vanguard has the VOO, that's their ETF, and then their mutual fund version of that is VFIAX, kind of a mouthful. I spent a lot of time buying that mutual fund to the point where it's almost like an extended checking account. And I hate to withdraw from it, but if I'm going to be withdrawing from anything, I would withdraw from the Vanguard before I withdraw from XRP. So I'm in XRP for the very, very long haul. Forbidden just said silver's over 113. The last time I looked at it was at 108. You guys, this is getting out of control. At the rate this is going, it could be at 200 by the end of the week. This gives me some nervous feelings, you guys, because hold on, I got a question from Dervil before I cover the silver stuff. I think I've asked this before. Can you unwrap your XRP after the staking contract? Yeah, you can. There's a process to it. I haven't officially tried it yet, but I think on Firelight, or at least with FXRP, unfortunately, it would make me sync my wallet in order to show you the menus, which I don't necessarily want to do right now. But if you were to go to Flare Assets, let me make sure I'm not signed in first. I'm just going to open up it on a screen you guys can't see. Just want to make sure I don't have my wallet synced. Just a second, you guys. Okay, cool. I'm not connected. I love you guys. I don't necessarily want you guys knowing my wallet address. It only takes one person to screw it up for everybody. If I was connected, I'd have to hit connect wallet. But if I was connected and I went to this tab right here that says mint, the same screen that you mint your FXRP, you can also redeem it. So you could unwrap your FXRP from there. And then if you were on Firelight, and this is going to be the same case, by the way. I'm not going to connect the wallet, so there's only... I'm just kind of showing you this conceptually. If I were to connect my wallet here, then I could go to this withdrawals tab, and you can see right here it says connect your wallet, so the menus don't pop up here. But you could very easily... It's like there's like one or two buttons on the screen. So even though I can't show it to you live, it would be pretty easy to withdraw your STXRP from here. And then what would happen is when you do that, it would go back into, again, I wish I could show you guys this, but I don't want to necessarily connect my wallet. You just never know who's out there. Once you withdraw your STXRP, you'd come back to this mint page here on Flare Assets. You would see your FXRP returned back to this screen. Man, I wish I could show you guys this live. I think this would be maybe I'll make a whole video on this actually. But anyways, you'd have your FXRP here and then you could redeem it. So just show you the order of operations if you wanted to do so. Let's say you're staking your XRP and you want to pull out. You withdraw your STXRP. It'll convert back into FXRP, which would then end up in your Flare Assets wallet, whatever you use, whether it's a Xamin or a Bifrost. I know there's other wallets out there with Wallet Connect and the MetaMask, but anyways, there'd be a button here to redeem. So you could get your XRP out of there. You would just need to be able to cover some of the gas fees. You'd need to have enough Flare on hand to do that, which with Flare being only a penny, not a big deal. And it's not a lot of Flare either. It might only be like 3 to 4 Flare tokens, unless you've got just a crazy amount of FXRP, which I don't think too many people have yet, but it is proportional. So, don't think that, for example, if you had 500 FXRP, maybe that withdrawal rate would be like 4 or 5 Flare tokens. But if you had 50,000 FXRP, then maybe that withdrawal would be like 50 to 60 Flare tokens. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. I am basically working on that Flare video. It's going to come out on Sunday. I've got everything ready to go. All I got to do is shoot it at this point. What I want to do is the last Flare drop goes out on the 30th. I want to make the video after that happens so that the data is as clean as possible. Otherwise, I'm all ready to go to shoot my Flare video. I'm going to work on an ISO video later today. I think would be pretty interesting for you guys. Good morning, Mill, by the way. Saw you just joined the chat. Actually, let me catch up on the chat so that I can see if I've missed any questions. Dean's, okay, we're talking about silver up there. Roll of 1 Silver Eagle coins, about 2,600. Forbidden says, okay, so you guys are talking with each other there. Ben says, man, if only I started stacking silver when I was born. You and me both, brother. I don't know at this time that I would actually buy silver. I like watching the chart, and I'm happy for you guys that are, riding the silver wave. This to me feels like a huge FOMO play where you're like, oh my God, it's going up. And it might continue going up, but it also might crash. And when something moves this aggressively, the way I look at it is like the time to buy silver would have been around here. And since I didn't do that, I don't want to be buying it in January. And really, if you really want to get to it, the real time to be buying silver would have been all of this time frame. This was the time to buy silver. January 2021, January 2024. I mean, this thing was trading pretty steadily at around $20 an ounce, $25 an ounce for like 5 years straight. This was the time to be buying. And since I didn't, I don't want to try to catch the FOMO play by buying silver at 113. So I like watching it go up, but once something moves like this tells me it's too late to buy. And I know there's going to be people out there that say, well, silver's going to go to 300 or it's going to go to 400. And it very well may. It very well may do that. But since I don't know that, I'm going to stick with my gut and my own buying principle is to buy low and sell high. So I would never buy something that's high. That's just how I feel about that. Even XRP would apply to that. If XRP goes to $50, there's a good chance I'd probably never buy it again. Never sell either, but I would have a hard time justifying buying a $50 XRP token when, you know, some of us in this space were buying it for under $1. At that stage, I would rather look for the next opportunity. Russell says, what happens to the crypto market if the U.S. hits Iran in the next 48 hours? Very, very good question. So there's reason to believe that if we hit Iran, the reverse carry trade could accelerate very rapidly. And I'll give Jake Claver some credit here. I know a lot of people don't like him. I'm very skeptical when I listen to him talk, but the one thing that he's done very well on, and this is like his saving grace to me, is his coverage of the Japanese bond market. So his price predictions be damned. I think he got this particular piece right. If Iran gets struck by the United States and they retaliate by closing down the Strait of Hormuz, and it doesn't even have to be that. It could just be if oil production or the moving of oil, for whatever reason, gets halted or inhibited due to these attacks. Japan's going to be in a situation where they've got no oil coming in. They're going to have to pay a premium. The price of gas in Japan would get so high that it would cause a liquidity crisis in Japan. So that is something that could force the yen carry trade, or I should say the reverse carry trade, to rapidly accelerate, which we all know would catapult XRP's price. And let me go back up to show the XRP price. This would be the catalyst to make XRP go to outer space, like the bearable guy photos that we all like to look at. But that's just, you know, it's tough to talk about these things because there has to be a before and after. Like it's not just gonna go to $100 because we all want our Lamborghinis. There's specific events that have to play out, and if they don't play out, the price doesn't move, right? So that's why I don't like giving concrete price predictions. But all I can say is that I check this thing every day, and if Japan doesn't have to have an oil problem, it just has to have an anything problem. It just happens to be that oil could be the first thing that hits. But if Japan has a liquidity crisis, the reverse carry trade is basically a certainty. I mean, all but a certainty. And that's what's going to move XRP, and at least in the short term. In the long term, the reverse carry trade doesn't really matter that much. All of this can happen without Japan. It's just that if Japan happens, it'll happen now. If not, we may have to wait a while. And I have a feeling, you know, I want to talk about this real quick. Regarding silver, I want to see what is the total market cap of silver. Let me see if I can get a good... hold on, my dog's barking. It's probably the mailman. So silver has a market cap of 4 trillion. At least that's what this guy on Reddit said. Is that a true statement? Oh, and he said this a month ago before the rip. Well, let's put it this way. Maybe we'll find the chart later that can back this up. But if silver's total market cap is around $6 or $7 trillion, you got to think it's not you and I that's making this kind of movement. So that post was a month ago. So about a month ago, silver was at 75. So you got to think, okay, since then, if that chart was real, silver's moved up $40 from then. So we're probably looking at around a $5 or $6 trillion market cap on silver. You and I don't have that kind of money to move this thing. And so what it really does for me is it makes me nervous. Where's all this money coming from? Because it can't be coming from retail investors like us. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping TradingView might have their market cap on here so that we get the official numbers, but I know that gold is even more, and gold's hit, all-time highs as well. Let me see if a quick Google search can at least get us the total market cap of gold. Maybe this one will have, okay. So estimated market cap, 35 trillion. So check this out. Gold is up 84% over the year. So 84%, well, let's just round that up. That's basically a 2x. I know it's not exactly a 2x, but a 2x on 35 trillion means that the gold market cap this time last year, probably somewhere around $20 trillion. To have $15 trillion added to gold's market cap, it gets my mind wondering what's going on here. Because this is definitely not retail. I have this is the kind of the pessimist in me, or the worrywart, as you could say. I'm wondering, are we going to see a societal collapse? And I don't necessarily mean societal collapse in that it'll be like The Walking Dead or like post-apocalyptic. More so that I'm thinking of like V for Vendetta or 1984, where all of us, or at least the people that don't have gold or crypto, get thrust down into a poverty class that is inescapable. And that is what worries me when I see this thing moving. Because you can't get this kind of price with gold from people just going to their local jewelry store and buying gold and silver and keeping it in a vault at their house. And to that end, it also means that if we can call them elites or the institutions, or whatever phrase you want to use to describe these kind of ambiguous entities, if they're buying this all up, that means that there's a supply shock that people like us can't get it, right? I've already talked to people that say that actually getting the gold or silver coins at this point is very difficult, and that most people are just buying paper. So that is something that I'm not saying I have a crystal ball or to know where things are going. So much as I'm saying that I'm just asking the questions. And I'm not necessarily liking the answers that I come up with. Not saying that they're true or false, but I'm just trying to pull out the threads here. Gold and silver out of control. What's that going to do to the rest of global currencies? If I guess the white pill of the day is that all of us are here. We're watching this stuff. We're positioning ourselves well. We have an opportunity here to make out. I don't want to say make out like bandits, but we do have an opportunity here to do very, very well in the long term. Even if, I don't want to say at the expense of other people. That's not necessarily the perspective I'm going for, but a lot of people will probably get burned in the next couple of years. And that includes people that hold, ETFs on the stock market. I'm going to catch up to the chat here. Millpower says, if you're open to contributions, consider adding a wallet address to your channel. I have thought about doing that. If you guys think that's a good play, I'll do it. I've been a little nervous too, just because um, I feel like it could come off weird, you know. But if you guys think it's a good idea, I'll do it. Um, as I've said on this channel, I do have my YouTube wallet, so maybe my YouTube wallet is just free public information. I'm going to be putting my Flare videos on that YouTube wallet. Maybe on that YouTube wallet, I also have an XRP section. And if you guys want to donate XRP to me, maybe in a roundabout way, we could have some fun with it. And I'll just keep that wallet public. And we can be like, oh, look, this is Andrew's YouTube channel. I don't know. If you guys want me to do it, I'll think about it. Because I do have my YouTube wallet. It really wouldn't be that hard for me to set that up. And then, yeah, I'll think about it. I'll make a decision on that. Probably not during this stream, but sometime soon. Time to crack the window. I don't know if it's my PC, the heat, or the fact that I'm like talking and being engaged, but man, something just gets this room hotter than any other room in my house. And I agree with Dean there. I think there's something to that, the membership stuff. It's a cool idea. I'm pulling at different threads to try to make this operation something I can maintain in the long term. I guess I'll just say it because some of you guys already know, because we believe it or not, of all the people watching this stream, I do talk to a lot of you guys, either on Instagram or on the phone, or on whatever your preferred devices are. I really do talk to you guys, and I told some of you guys that I've been kicking the idea around of getting a day job just so that I can keep this channel operational without having to really go down the grifter route. Because as it is, views are fun, but the channel views alone don't bring enough income to sustain a channel. And so I'm kicking around the idea that maybe it's better for everyone if I do at least get some form of day job, at least until the Firelight gets fleshed out and we get some price appreciation. But it's something I'm kicking around. You guys know I've been out of work since November. Whether you want to call it a layoff or just my contract expires, it's really the same effect at the end of the day. And it can be a little tough paying for your mortgage with your IRA. So I don't know. I'm kicking these things around. I'm pretty open with you guys, so I just tell you guys everything. Nothing's happened yet. It's going to take time to. If I do look for jobs, you got to interview and then you got to wait. So it's not like anything's going to happen overnight. But something I was kicking around, if it does come to that, I could just stream on my lunch breaks. It wouldn't be a 2-hour stream, but there's no reason I couldn't just pop on here for 45 minutes. And then if anyone at work says anything, I'll just say, look, I'll just stay an hour late. Just want to let you guys know where I'm at with that. Looking at here back on CoinMarketCap, Fear and Greed Index back down to 29. You guys have heard me say it before, but the lower this score gets, the more I like to buy. I've been converting at least some of my IRA to the XRP ETF inside of my own IRA, so I'm not taking any penalties. I'm not getting the tokens either, but I'm at least getting exposure where I otherwise wouldn't be able to. And I do this on about a monthly basis, but I am manually piloting it to the extent that I'm not waiting for the first of the month to make a swap. I'm not trying to say I'm timing the market, but I'm following the market, and when I see an opportunity to make a conversion, that's when I do it. So, I already made a contribution last week, so I'm probably going to wait until at least February, but If we were to dip back into this 180 range, I would probably accelerate my monthly swap, and that's how I can accumulate more XRP. Even if I was working full time, I think I would actually still be doing this, because even a full-time job isn't going to give you the type of capital you need to really make, dare I say it, ballsy moves. But if you really believe in the token like a lot of us do, I don't really think this is a ballsy play. It's just like, let me say, I think of the best way to put this. If you were a time traveler and you knew how the Seattle Rams game was going to end last night. I watched football. I was watching football last night. If you knew how that game was going to end in advance, you'd have no problem saying, I'm all in on the Seahawks because they're going to win this game. I'm not saying we can do that in real life, but I'm as close to that as you can get for XRP, where I don't see a future that doesn't have Ripple in it. I mean, you got to think, conspiratorial ideas aside, Brad Garlinghouse was a speaker at the World Economic Forum. The guy from Ethereum wasn't. I can't remember his name. It was like Vital or Vitali or Vitali. Anyway, in any case, he wasn't there. Our friend, I want to say Chris Hodgson or whatever, the Cardano guy. Sorry, I should know his name. Hoskinson, Charles Hoskinson. There we go. He wasn't there. So it just makes you think. Ripple's at the WEF. These other major coins aren't. What's going on there? And then why isn't that getting more coverage? Like, we know about it because we follow this stuff so closely. But you don't see headlines saying Ripple is at this, Ripple is at that. And so, I almost wonder, is the silence regarding XRP just another bull indicator? Kind of like a distraction. Let's talk about this so that people aren't talking about that. Because the reality is that they really don't want us having XRP. And for that reason, I think there could be one more very painful dip. I put a post out last night on my channel that XRP's since recovered since then. I mean, I posted last night around the time it was at $1.80 saying like, yeah, I know we're all in pain, but just hang in there. And then it moved like a solid 4% since then. But I think there could still be one more really painful dip that's meant to shake out as much retail as possible before a true run-up happens. And that's something I'm waiting for, because that almost in itself might be an indicator that something big's about to happen. Is if we see XRP fall down to like $1.25 or possibly even under $1, that's when I might start thinking like tinfoil hat time. Is this the elites trying to shake the branches to get us to drop our coconuts? And in that case, I'm not selling my XRP under any circumstance. I'm in this for the long haul. I've got other assets. I still got my S&P 500 tracker. I could live off that for a minute if I needed to. I would never sell XRP at a loss. Ben says Ripple needs to triple. Needs to do a lot more than that, but I do agree. Dean, we said buying, stacking XRP is like squirrel stashing nuts all summer. You bet it is. Not hungry for them now, but while abundant, he knows they'll be handy down the road. 100% agree. And trying to think of how much do I say here. If you get extraordinarily wealthy with XRP, like I'm talking 9-figure millionaire, maybe some of us even cross into the billions, you then have the power to really transform your own community. And so outside of the crypto space, If you're seeing things in society that you don't like, you could use that money to essentially fundraise your own. I'm trying to think of how I say this without sounding. You could use this to fix up your community. If all the moral degeneracy is something that bothers you, you could use your money to build more churches, right? If you want to keep kids off the street, you could build more sports complex for them to be playing whatever sport, basketball, football, baseball, whatever. Again, if you want to go the political route, you could use that money to fundraise someone like Thomas Massie, right? I'm a Thomas Massie guy. It's no secret that he doesn't have a lot of money. If you had $1 billion, you could say, look, Thomas Massie, you're literally the only guy who doesn't seem to have any dirt on him. You get zero funding. We're going to help you out. It's that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying you guys have to be a Thomas Massie fan. I know he's not perfect, but the fact that he lives in an RV with solar panels, it's like, okay, this dude's one of us. So that's kind of where my mind is at. You know, I can't imagine Thomas Massie going overseas to stand in front of certain walls, if you know what I'm saying. I don't see that in his future, and that's probably, I'm a crypto channel, so that's probably where I'm going to leave that statement, but I think that you guys could probably figure out what I meant by that. Yes, Thomas Massie does sometimes vote with the libs. I get it. Maybe we don't go down that too much, but there's bad stuff going on both sides of the parties, so maybe we don't get too far down that rabbit hole right now. But if your interest was American sovereignty, then that would be, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't go down this road because I want to stick to crypto, and we could talk about stuff like that, but that might kind of divide the audience a bit. Speaking of which, we got 60 people in the stream today. We're hitting kind of a new record here. If you guys could like the stream, this helps more people find it. It tells YouTube to show this to more people. And that would really help drive the channel upwards. So I greatly appreciate if you guys could just hit that like button. It's just a small thing to do. I know it doesn't seem like it does much, but it really does. I would greatly appreciate that. And then if you're finding this stream for the first time, make sure to subscribe. We're streaming Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Cover all kinds of stuff. We cover the market. We follow geopolitics. Basically, I want to really help position you guys to be as successful in life as you can. So we're looking at all different kind of angles here. In addition to that, I do pre-recorded videos. I do a lot of demonstrations on the Flare network. I show you guys, how to catch crypto scams, how to set up cold wallets. We'll sometimes deep dive into specific tokens. I noticed one of you guys were talking about Flare, so I just want to jump in here and see what was said. Let's see here. Has anyone been noticing their Flare rewards reducing this week? Well, I do know the final Flare drop is a smaller value. So we could kind of take a look at this. This Flare rich list, more than just a rich list, has a really nice chart of all the Flare drops. I wonder if this could have something to do with it. There's only going to be 584 million for the last Flare drop, where all the other ones have been 676 million. So I wonder if there's something to do with that. Otherwise, your FTSO provider can go up or down. And this might also have some stuff on that. So, you know, these reward rates aren't static, right? Like on a good day, like AU might go up, AU might go down. So that's, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, maybe not necessarily micromanage your FTSO provider, but you might notice that some months the figures are different. And when I do my flare video, we're going to actually see that, because what I'm going to be doing, I need to pick a FTSO provider that, let me see when their end dates are. Yeah, so I'm going to have to pick for my experiment, I'm going to have to pick one of these FTSO providers that has an end date at least going out to August. I know there's not a lot of them, right? It looks like there's only maybe like 10 to 15. So I'll probably have to figure out which one of these is the best option. Otherwise, the experiment, because I don't want to micromanage the staking. And if you're having trouble following what I'm trying to say right now, let me just kind of back it up. I'm going to be doing a flare video that launches on Sunday, February 1st. And we're going to be putting flare tokens into delegation, staking, and collateral all at the same time. And they're going to be in equal proportions. And we're going to be tracking the reward rates on all three of those categories. When it comes to the staking, I really didn't want to have to pass I didn't want to have to pass from one FTSO to another, because if I don't catch it in time, those tokens could just be sitting in the staking folder unstaked because the FTSO expired. And I thought that might kind of screw with the data a little bit. So I'll probably just pick one of these ones. I know Luganodes is pretty reliable. That one's on my radar. It would have been nice to have done AU, but AU expires in like 2 weeks. So it's probably down here all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so AU expires literally in 6 days. If AU renews, I might go with AU. And they probably will have something, because you can have multiple FTSOs. It's kind of hard to explain, but you can see AUs in here a couple of different times. But I don't think they have anything long-term right now. So I'll be looking through this to try to decide. About to sneeze, you guys. Woo. Be looking through to see which one I want to go with, but in general, how I'm going to be doing it is uptime 100%. I think for this experiment will be mandatory. And not that, I mean, most of them are at 100% to begin with. There's only a few that aren't. But basically what I'll be doing is, first and foremost, got to have an end date of at least August 1st or later, so I could do Last Oracle if I wanted, but their uptime is 99.4. So I'll pick 100% uptime, end date after August, and then from there, I think the next important thing would be to see, you know, who has the most tokens. So it looks like Price Kraken, Anchor, and Luganodes all have a ton of tokens in them. That's a good sign. So by having that many tokens, having that many people invested with them, it means that there's some reliability there. There's reputation. Luganodes has 18 delegators. Solarius has 95. I think Anchor has the most at 96. So Anchor could also be a good option for that. And this would basically be as safe of an option as possible. I might even go with Anchor just looking at this right now. Free space won't be an issue. I don't have 100 million flare, so we don't have to worry about that one. But you can see Anchor's got 100,000 or 100 million total stake. They'll be active until November 24th. 100% uptime. Now I wonder if the rewards are any good. I don't know if I can. I don't know if this chart shows that. We can. Let's see. Let's see what Anchor is. So Anchor has a reward rate. Oh, you know what? We can look this up on Catalytics. This is Anchor. It's got 0.62. Here, I'm going to link these in the chat in case you want to poke around with these yourself. Just link Catalytics. I'm going to put the Flare Builders one in there as well. The screen with the white background is Flare Builders, and the screen with the black background is Catalytics. So I'm just going to look up how Anchor does on here, and that should give us some good information here. Okay, search. Why aren't you searching? I want you to search. Okay, am I crazy? There's no button to actually execute the search. All right, Control F will have to do. There we go. That was strange. So let's see how this one's doing. Oh, this is more of their, I want to see the rewards. There we go. Sorry about that, fellas. Anchor, come on, let's see where you are. Okay, there we go. Pretty decent numbers. Happy enough with that. We got 6.5% for delegation, so that would be your epochs, and then the staking is currently at 12.72%. This might be the one I go with, just kind of looking at this here live. And if you want to know how I came to that conclusion, let's just go back up to it real quick and look. So first and foremost, had to pick something that has an expiry date of August 1st or later. Then I wanted to have an 100% uptime. So once you knock those two out, most of these do have 100% uptime. The next thing I wanted to see is who's got the highest amount of stake, because that means that the most amount of people are participating in it. Anchor seems to be up there. I know there's Price Kraken right here, and maybe I look at this one as well. This one could also be a decent one to look at, but Anchor has more delegators. Anchor seems to have the highest out of all of these. Seems to be in first place, right behind, or Solarius is close behind, but then Solarius has less stake. So Anchor has the most amount of people, or I want to say the most amount of tokens staking with them. And then they also have the highest amount of delegators. They got the 100% uptime, and they've got the expiry date past August. So at this time, I'm probably going to go with Anchor unless I change my mind or find a better option. But I think Solarius would be a good backup option. Luganodes would be a good backup, although there's not as many delegators. It does have a good amount of stakers. And then Price Kraken is probably also good. Obviously, Last Oracle, not going to work. It's got 0 free space, so can't go with that one. And let me see. Some of these other ones, Ugly Kitty, no space. Last Oracle, no space. I'm not going to stake with something that doesn't have a name, so whatever this one is, that's not going to work out. Wander FPSO. It's got space. Doesn't have a whole lot of people in it, though. And it's only got 3 delegators. I'd rather go with something that's got more people involved in it. That way, reputation is a big thing when it comes to FTSO. So at this time, I'll probably either go with Anchor, Solarius, or Price Kraken. Unless something changes, I'm probably just going to go with Anchor because it has the highest amount of delegators. But that's a sneak peek at what we'll be doing. Everything you just watched here is going to be in that video, by the way. I kind of just did it live, but that's how that's going to go. What's going on, Zerp? It's got 150 active validators and 35 on the default unique node list. It's a validator that went down a UNL. I do not know. I might have to catch up on the chat here. Oh, Kristen says, I see on Good Evening Crypto saying an XRPL validator went down. I don't think that's ever happened before. Ben says, do you all ever try to get random people that are doing lives to look into XRP? I tell them about XRP, the reverse carry trade, and gold and silver. Most don't know what they're talking about. Well, you got at least one. There's at least one guy covering it. But yeah, so look forward to this video. I plan on launching it on the 1st. Now I'm just thinking out loud here. I just realized I'm going up north for a ski trip, so I might actually shoot the video. I might do the actual video shoot on Thursday, but not officially put the tokens in until Sunday, because I don't necessarily have to record that part. I could just kind of like punch it in. I don't know. I gotta think about that. I guess I didn't realize the ski trip was this weekend. Well, if I'm going on the ski trip, I could also just do it Sunday night and then release the video Monday morning. I'll think about it as the week goes on. I could at least shoot this portion of the video without, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll probably shoot this part, talk about the FTSO, and then shoot me staking the stuff, and then call it good. We'll figure it out as the week progresses. Zerp says, one validator going down is pretty normal. If multiple validators start dropping, that increases the risk. But you were talking about the XRPL right now, right? Not Flare. And then Steph saying, I'm in subscription sites for stocks, but one does mention crypto, but only IOTA and Link. It says Chainlink will have a P ship with US. Is that partnership? Assuming so. Social security benefits once they go to the blockchain. Yeah, I see stuff like that for Chainlink pretty often, so that's why I'm pretty excited for that one. I know I don't talk about Chainlink as much, but Chainlink's going to do pretty good. I wanted to... Oh, I'm having a brain fart here. I wanted to just jump to something. Oh, yeah. Yeah, here we go. So today I'm going to do a pre-recorded video. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at what it's going to be about. So if you go to coinmarket.com or coinmarketcap.com, if you go to more and you scroll down, there should be... Yeah, there's this option right here that says more categories. You go to this more categories and do a Control F and type in ISO. This will take you to a list of all the tokens that are ISO 20022 compliant. And I'm going to basically do a video about this because in my opinion, this right here is the utility coin cheat sheet. And if you've been watching the channel, you know all the stuff that we've been talking about is on this list. XRP, Chainlink, Stellar, HBAR. I don't really talk about Algorand that often, but that's on there. Quant, Flare. Some of you guys want me to get into Metal. Metal's on it. ZBEC, that's on it. IOTA, that's on it. And so if you want to know what utility tokens are probably going to do very, very well on the other side of the Clarity Act, this ISO list right here is kind of the cheat sheet. And so I'm thinking I'll make a video on this one today. This should be probably a shorter video. Probably doesn't need to be that long to get the point across. But if you were to, you know, come to this list, you can track, you know, which ones are getting added to it. I think it's also pretty telling which tokens are not on it. There's no ETH, there's no Solana, there's no Doge, there's no Bitcoin. So all of the meme, I don't know if ETH and Solana are necessarily meme coins, but they're the platform that meme coins get hosted on. They're not on here. Kind of tells me a lot, you guys. Josh says, how much Stellar should we be holding? That's a good question. I think Stellar is going to do very well. It's just I don't have a whole lot of it because I've been focused on XRP, Flare, and HBAR. And I've recently started buying Quant. And Stellar is going to do well. I mean, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm saying it won't do well, but it's not a priority buy for me right now because I don't know if maybe you guys know, maybe you don't know. Stellar is basically a clone of XRP, and I'm trying to think of the easiest way to break this down. So Stellar was created by Jed McCaleb, who also created XRP, but him and David Schwartz had a falling out, and then there's Chris Larson's involved as well. But Jed basically took his ball and went home, and that's what XLM is. I have nothing against XLM. I think it's going to do fantastic. I mean, it's essentially the XRP code minus the escrow. The investor in me says that because they are not going to have the utility partnerships that XRP does, even though it will do well, I don't think it's going to do as well as XRP. And so I'm looking at it thinking, like, as cool as Stellar is, it's hard for me to buy Stellar when I could just buy XRP. And maybe some people might not like me saying that, because I know that there's the ones in this space, when somebody likes a coin, they really like it. And I'm not saying it's got to be, you know, it's not like college football where you got to pick your team. I think there's a good argument to be made for having multiple different tokens. But I'm not currently buying Stellar. I'll probably buy it in the future. But I guess the really roundabout answer to your question, I know I kind of went off there. If you wanted Stellar, I'd say probably getting up to about 50K Stellar would be that'd be pretty good. I got that number, and not just pulling it out of my ass. HBAR is currently at 10 cents, and I think that a good goal for HBAR is to have 100K HBAR. If Stellar's at 20 cents, you know, that's just like a factor of 2, right? So, you know, if you're a Canadian, HBARs are loonies and Stellar are toonies. I think that's how it works. I hope I didn't get that one backwards. Loonies are the smaller one, right? And then toonies, because it makes sense, right? Toonie. I don't know. If any of you guys are Canadian, feel free to correct me if I got that wrong. Dean says, if I decide to buy a token, I set a mental goal of 10K to achieve, start with. Win or lose, it's a good starting point. You can try to get 10K quant. By the way, Pat reminded me I got to do it. Thanks for looking out for me, you guys. This is not financial advice. Everything on this channel is my opinion only, entertainment only, and speak with a financial advisor before making any decisions. Thanks for that, Pat. You're a real one. I'm giving you a heart in the chat. Dean says XLM and XRP are similar. XRP is institutional payments. XLM is going to be used for commercial, things like that. Yeah, that's true. You know, XLM is going to do very well. XLM is more peer-to-peer. So it will do well. I'm not personally buying it at the moment, but I think that I will buy it. I think I will buy it down the road. Just not right now. There's too many other things I want to get first. If I had to put Quant, for example, up against Stellar, I'm probably buying Quant right now before I'm buying Stellar, just because Quant's a very unique token. It's kind of fallen back down to $75. It's, you know, kind of a buzzkill for some people, but it's kind of also a good buying opportunity for others. And the interoperability, I know that's kind of a new vocabulary word. If you don't know what interoperability means, it's the connecting of multiple silos so that they're no longer silos. So explained this a few times, but if you got the XRPL and that's one column, I'm cut off here. I'm gonna use my hands here. Go full screen here. Let's say this is a column, right? This is the XRPL, and this is your Hedera hash graph, and they're kind of two columns. They're not really integrated at all. Quant has the overledger, which would be like this umbrella. And under the umbrella, it's got connectors. So you can connect the XRPL and the hash graph to the overledger. And if you're a bank or an institution that's transacting in multiple different tokens or multiple different ledgers, instead of having to have an access point in each of these things, which, by the way, I worked in IT for years. I know how difficult it is to get data from one instance to another. It's terrible. So what Overledger does is it allows you to integrate all of these different ledgers so that from the end user experience, there's only one point of use. I'm brain farting on the official term of it. Not point of sale, but the user experience, the UI. It's all out of one singular operating system, and that's what the Overledger does. And so that is why, especially in the case of Quant, the more I learn about it, the more excited I am for it, because it's so much different than what's out there available. It's not really, I wouldn't even really call it a currency as much as I'd call it a key card. And that's what I think about that. Would you guys kill me if I went to the bathroom for 30 seconds? Let me see if there's anything on Twitter I can show you guys so that you're not just sitting there. Maybe we won't watch that one. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be getting myself in trouble here. I do want to talk about what happened over the weekend just a little bit. I don't want to like stay on that idea for too long, but I think I want to address it. I'm gonna start this thing off just so that you guys have something to watch while I'm in the bathroom. I'm gonna be right back.
What's your ultimate ambition for Flare? Like, what is the?
I wanted to handle billions, tens of billions of dollars a day.
And do you think that involves like a larger participation, you know, in real world assets and the TradFi industry onboarding, or can that be achieved?
We can handle tens of billions of dollars a day just with DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
I think TradFi onboarding would be amazing. We have some plans there. Don't know most of them.
What's your ultimate ambition for Flare? Like, what is the?
I wanted to handle billions, tens of billions of dollars a day.
And do you think that involves like a larger participation, you know, in real world assets and the TradFi industry onboarding, or can that be achieved?
We can handle tens of billions of dollars a day just with DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
I think TradFi onboarding would be amazing. We have some plans there. Don't know most of them.
What's your ultimate ambition for Flare?
It's repeating itself.
To handle.
Was this any good? Oh man, Ben. It's too late, buddy. I'm already back at the desk. Should I watch this? You guys said we want trillions. Well, now I want to know what he's talking about.
Billions, tens of billions of dollars. Most of
them. What's your ultimate ambition for Flare? Like, what is the?
I wanted to handle billions, tens of billions of dollars a day.
And do you think that involves like a larger participation, you know, in real world assets and the TradFi industry onboarding, or can that be achieved?
We can handle tens of billions of dollars a day just with DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
I think TradFi onboarding would be amazing. We have some plans there. Don't know most.
Nice. I'm glad I watched that with you guys. I've been saying it. Flare is going to be my real estate portfolio, and you know, we might have to wait a while, but I'm a patient man, and when Flare's price does go to the price that we need it to go, you know, I've said before, you know, it's not that hard to get to 1 million Flare. I mean, not saying you do it overnight, but If you make it a goal on your dollar cost averaging, structure, you can get to 1 million flare. And if flare goes to $1, as long as you're staking and delegating, that could be literally like owning a real estate portfolio that can't put holes in the walls or flush tampons down the toilet. Pretty cool stuff. And that's not even counting Firelight. If you do Firelight, now you can double dip. You got your Flare tokens and your XRP doing the same thing. I do want to cover off the Minneapolis stuff. We won't watch the videos. I think it's probably too graphic to necessarily get into that. And I also want to talk about, this is hilarious, by the way. We can't watch this one, but that one was absolutely fun. I want to talk about this next, but the whole Minneapolis thing, sometimes I don't right. But I said when the first one happened, like I want to say it was 2 weeks ago now. Don't know the exact date, but I said things are going to get worse. And then sure enough, over the weekend, things got worse. I mean, they've been getting worse. But, when someone, gets, loses their life, that's kind of different. It takes things to a new level. And the way I see this going is not good. If this kind of stuff is going on in negative 20-degree weather, I can only imagine what's going to happen once, it's springtime and summertime and you can be out there all night in a t-shirt. I think most of you guys watching this are probably, I think we're probably all on the same page. So I don't want to necessarily preach to the choir so much as I want to say, like, just kind of be careful if this stuff kind of spills into your own city. The best way to handle this is avoidance, because I don't think the people that are in the street causing, and I'm not trying to pick sides here, but it's something that has to be said. And there's thousands of people in the street. They're disrupting the entire flow of that city. Like, businesses can't operate, buses can't operate. Like, how can you take kids to school when the streets are just filled with people like that? There has to, I would hope that logical people can realize that, like, yeah, it's one thing to protest, but to completely shut a city down, like, of course they're going to send, National Guard and other agencies there. Like, it's to me, that's very obvious. I don't know how anyone could think that's not obvious. And I don't think any of you guys would be, going to those, but it could be something that finds you in your own city. And so that's why I think it's important to at least be aware of these things, so that, have a plan. The best way to stay safe is to avoid the issue altogether. And so, the last thing I would want is any one of you guys get into a situation where, you're getting ripped out of your own car because this angry mob thinks that you're law enforcement. Those are the kinds of things that, if you drive a pickup truck, or if you drive an SUV, or if you drive a van, not like a minivan, but I guess a minivan too, I'm seeing videos of those things happening. And if you're not aware, all this is going on in Minneapolis. But it's starting to spill out, and I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing what's going on, and I'm seeing that other cities are having this happen too. Maybe not on the level of Minneapolis, but I've seen videos of people in short sleeve shirts. So I don't know what cities, but maybe Atlanta, maybe Dallas or Houston. I don't know, but I said 2 weeks ago that this thing was probably going to get worse and spread to other cities. It looks like that is what's happening. I just want people to stay safe, because I was around in 2020. I was living downtown Detroit during that one, the George Floyd stuff. And there were things happening outside of my own apartment building. I'm trying to think of how to say it, because you know how it is on YouTube. Somebody helped someone else check out early, if you know what I'm saying. It happened right in front of the lobby of my own apartment. Booked him a one-way ticket to Belize, and this wasn't this wasn't protester versus police. This was protester versus protester. So somebody had a vendetta and they execute, or oh shoot, I shouldn't just use that word. Someone someone punched someone else's ticket. And when that happened, I was like, you know what? Living next to the bar or living next to the sports stadiums, not worth it. I'd rather just drive a half hour from the suburbs and get away from that. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that this looks like it's going to be like that all over again. So it's something I'm keeping a close eye on, because you don't want to get caught with your pants down. Now on to some good news. This is the screenshot we've all been waiting for. The XRP payment kiosk. Now, I don't know how true this is. I don't know if this is real. This is just what's hitting the crypto space. So we don't really know if this is real. But if it is real, very interesting stuff. I know I've seen stuff like this in Japan. So it's not like this is the first time anyone's ever thought to do this. But to be able to make payments in XRP, now I get buying a bucket of chicken's not exactly going to move the price, but it is a start, right? Any sort of adoption, I will take it. And this, to me, if this is real, and it does say, you know, I got to zoom in on this thing. I don't know how much we can zoom. Let me just see. Is it going to let me? Okay, no, it zooms the rest of the screen, but it doesn't zoom the screenshot. It says here in really tiny font, pilot program, now accepting XRP payments. I would need to see more. Maybe I'd have to see this in person to know if this is real or not, but if it's real, that could be exciting. I want to see, maybe it's got some, okay. This person right here says this is not a US menu. Look at the currency denomination, comma. Okay, so it's in BR. Does that say BR? That'd be Brazilian, right? I guess I don't really know what the Brazilian currency is. Let's ask the internet. What currency is BR? Okay, that's Brazilian. Wait, yeah, Brazilian real. Okay. So, I mean, this is another sign, you guys. The world is more ready for crypto than the United States is. That's just another example of it. So, I mean, if you can buy a bucket of chicken in Rio de Janeiro or whatever it is, I'm just gonna. If you could buy a bucket of chicken in Brazil with XRP, that's a good sign. It's a good sign that things are coming. It might take a little longer here in the United States, but XRP doesn't necessarily need the United States so much as the United States needs XRP. Maybe this gives us a reason to go to, what is it officially called? Rio de Janeiro. Maybe this could be a good spring break spot. Go hang out with Christ the Redeemer. Maybe go and spend some XRP tokens on a trip there. But that's the exciting stuff there. I think that's all the tweets that I saved over the weekend. Probably can't show you guys the chick fight was pretty fun, but I don't think I should show that one on stream. But if you guys want some good entertainment, I think the tagline was "Bachelorette Party Goes Wrong." It's got over 1 million views over the weekend, so it's doing the rounds. It should be a pretty easy one to find. It is absolutely hilarious. But but probably not quite appropriate for what we got going on here. Just gonna look up and down the Twitter space, see if there's any news coming out. I'm gonna try to avoid any live footage out of Minneapolis. I want to see if there's any Twitter. So we got some silver stuff here. You know, something I've been thinking about with gold and silver moving the way they are, is the world getting ready for a gold and silver backed cryptocurrency? Could be something there, you guys. I've heard someone once say Bitcoin backed by gold and XRP backed by silver. I mean, if that's the case, maybe we really do want silver hitting those crazy highs. Let's see what else we got going on here. It is 12:30. I've kind of run through my topics for the day. I'll do some Q&A. But if we run out of stuff to cover, we'll probably wrap up a little bit early. So I pretty much got through everything. We'll just be keeping an eye on the silver price as it keeps moving today. So, oh man. Since we started the stream, silver is up $2. Look at that. Look how fast that moves. That is unreal. Yeah, Ben says, too bad I don't have Los Pollos Hermanos. You know, we got to go see the Chicken Man. I love that show. One of my favorite shows of all time. Man, look at that. Silver just out of control. Let's see how gold's looking. Gold was at 5,000 when we started the stream. Yeah, it's staying up there. Well, gold seems to kind of have flattened out in the past couple of hours. Yeah, so this is where gold's at right now. It's about pretty steady for the past 12 hours. Silver, I mean, dude, every time you look at silver, it's just out of control. Past 12 hours, boom, went from 108 to 115. It's to 12% in one day. This has outperformed your S&P 500 index in just one day. Last week when we were looking at this chart, the 1 year chart was, I think, like 200 something percent. Now it's up to 278. Man, that's got to feel real good for you guys that got silver. That's cool. I'm hoping one day we can look at XRP's chart and see it moving like this. And I think we will. We just got to wait a little while, guys. It could be if this last retail shakeout is coming, it could be a couple months. I still think it happens this year, but man, that really is something. 115. All right, guys. I do think I'm going to start wrapping up. We're going to look at the bonds one last time. The yen is kind of going down, or the bond market is at least. We'll have to keep an eye on this one. Maybe it's a little bit greedy of me to want this to keep going up, but still, one way or another, 2.2 is not a safe spot for it to be. But it is safer than 2.4. So we'll see how this one plays out. Reverse carry trade still in play. Probably not happening today. If we bomb Iran, could happen later this week. We'll just have to see how things play out. Maybe the world's smartest IQ guy will finally get one of his predictions right. If he does that thing every single day, he'll eventually get it. I want to look at this guy. I just want to make fun of him real quick. Where is he? It's only a matter of time before he pops up on here. Oh, well, no, that's cool. Flare snowsuit. Maybe we gotta be careful looking at some of these posts. What's it, guys? I'm just gonna search IQ guy. We'll see. I bet he pops up. Yeah, there we go. This guy, Young Hong Him, or Young Hoon Kim, world's smartest guy. It has the best price predictions every single day. You know, after about 1,000 tweets, all he needs to do is get it right once, right? Monday is about to be insane. Last week, tomorrow you'll see. It's like, dude, what is the matter with this guy? Tomorrow you'll see. Tomorrow you'll see. XRP cycle turn now. Anyways. Dean says, say his name again. Are you trying to get me in trouble? Young Hoon Kim. Hopefully not a descendant of Kim Jong. I think he's probably South Korean. Ooh, Steph says the 30-year bond hit. Well, let's take a gander at it. All right. Oh, isn't this interesting? Maybe we should start looking at other. Wow. Okay, what we're looking at right now on the screen is the Japan 30-year. Now, I wonder. I want to see what. So I have this set to 1 month. I'm going to pull up the 10-year again, and let's just kind of see what they look like side by side. I know this isn't the best way to do it, but here, let's do this. So let's duplicate. Let's just look at all the long-term ones. So let's pull up the 20-year. Wow, okay, the 20-year is going off. And then we'll look at the 30-year. Yeah, that one's going off. And then we'll look at the 40-year. Let's just see how these all look together. So the 10-year bond, that one's the 10-year. Then this one's going to be the 20-year. So you can see the 10 years or the 20 year spiked a little harder than the 10 year did. The 20 year spiked up to 3.5. Now the 30 year, let's see how this one looks. Oh shoot, I didn't want to click that. Here we go. So the 30 year and the 20 year look basically the same. I mean, that's almost the same chart. A little bit different from the 10 year. Let's see what the 40 year looks like. Well, isn't that pretty interesting? So the 20 year, the 30 year, and the 40 year almost look identical, but then the 10 year doesn't look quite as bad. I would say that these ones actually look even worse. So the 20-year yield goes from 3.15% all the way up to 3.5% in the span of a week. And it looks like the longer term yield or bonds do have larger yields. I guess that would make sense. The 40-year went from 3.8 all the way up to 4.25. So Japan's getting ready for hyperinflation. I mean, this isn't something their economy can handle for too much longer. Let's see what a 1-year bond would look like just for fun. I don't know if that's necessarily the biggest deal or not, but okay, the 1-year bond is the 1-year bond just keeps on going up, and that's at 1%. This is something that has to eventually come to a head. You can't maintain this forever. I'm gonna look what you guys are saying over here on the left. Let's see. It says the box has some damage, but the toy is not. I don't know what you guys are talking about there. Maybe there's like a side convo going on. Yeah, it looks like you guys are having a side convo. Ben says, if you're being honest about the carry trade, feels like it's got to get to 4%. So I don't know which straw breaks the camel's back. I just know that this will, every time this goes up, we get closer to the reverse carry trade, whether it's, 2.5%, 3%, 4%, 5%. With the way it's moving, I mean, I know it's kind of down from its previous all-time high a few days ago. Let's see how this week plays out. If we're back at like 2.5 for this thing could just keep moving, and it'd probably accelerate too. So like the amount of time it takes to get from 2 to 2.5, maybe it only needs half that time to go from 2.5 to 3. I think we could see it still happen this year, and maybe not like this week or next week, or maybe not the next month. I think this is definitely in play. And if the United States bombs Iran over the next 48 hours, any sort of oil issues that come from that could see this thing moving pretty quick. So I do think I'm going to start wrapping. I think we got through a lot of good topics today. Don't necessarily need to go straight to 1 p.m. every single time. Unless you guys got any final questions for me, but I think I am going to start wrapping it up. If you're watching this through the YouTube live stream, and if you just found this channel, we stream every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So make sure to subscribe if you're having a good time so that you know how to find us again for tomorrow. What's for lunch? Well, I'm out of energy drinks, so I got to go to Costco. And if I'm going to go to Costco, I may as well do a couple laps up and down that sample line. So probably going to be eating a lot of samples and getting my energy drinks for the gym. I've been drinking. Here, you guys want to see it? I'll come grab it. I drink one of these bad boys, the Ghosts. They sell these at Costco. It's like having candy, man. I'm having this little candy flavored energy drink. It's just enough caffeine to get you ripping and rocking. Still, I'm always going to be a gym guy. I love going to the gym, lifting weights, and this is part of my morning routine. I did 285 on the squat today for 4 reps. It's a little better than I normally do, so I was pretty happy about that. Still a long way away from back when I could squat close to 4 plates, but I was also a lot heavier back then. So you got kind of factor that into it. But yeah, this was a squat morning. Felt good. Felt nice to get under the bar and push some heavy weight. So I'm going to go and grab those energy drinks, grab those samples. Ben says you don't think you're going to get to 20 XRP. Be surprised, man. If it dips hard enough, if it goes down to like $1. I mean, everyone here's got different situations, but just get what you can. Do your best, and some is better than none. So whatever you guys are able to accumulate, not financial advice, but XRP's at $1.90. You could get at least a 10K all in for 19 grand. With that, guys, I appreciate you guys hopping in the stream all the time, helping me out with this channel. We'll be doing this. I just want to be upfront with you guys. If I do end up getting a day job, I'm gonna have to figure out how to rearrange the time slots. Nothing's happened yet, but I haven't had a paycheck since November, and these mortgage bills ain't going away. So if it does come to that, I'll either have to reduce the stream to a half hour, because I could still do it on a lunch break. Otherwise, I'd just do it at night, which I could still do that as well. But I know that might make it hard for some of you guys. But nothing's happened yet. I'm just kickballing ideas because this mortgage bill is not going away. So we'll figure things out. One way or another, I'm not going anywhere. I just might have to rearrange my schedule to make this thing work. Just giving you guys that up front so that you know it could be happening. I got to get a job first, right? So I'll cross that bridge when it happens. But just putting it on the radar. For now, I'm going to go eat some samples, buy some energy drinks, and oh yeah, I'm going to shoot a video. But I'm going to shoot the video after lunch. So that video will be an ISO video. I'll kind of break down what the ISO is, and then I'll show you guys the ISO cheat sheet, and that'll be today's video. All right, guys. Thanks for hopping in. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow at 11 a.m. And stay safe out there and don't obstruct any law enforcement. Take care.